I think we talked about leadership.
All right.
I mean, this will increase our accountability to within being leaders. But, when you think about leadership, I mean, you have just recently come from a thing in Phoenix. You saw David Goggins, and I know that you are inspired by people that are leaders. We get motivated through our social media. We follow certain people.
100%.
We read up on leadership. We have to be examples of as leaders to our companies, to our organization, to our family. Anyone that says they don't care what people think of them, I think that's a lie. I care what people think about me. And sometimes too much. But at the end of the day, I think we all aspire to be leaders. And we also try to create leaders, whether that's my kids, whether that's people within the company. And so what is it about leadership what do you think defines a leader?
Well, I didn't know what it was until basically last year. Before everything in previous years, everything that I did, everything that I thought about was for me, for myself, what I wanted selfishly. And I'm going to take you a little bit back. Growing up, I knew I had potential. I always had a chip on my shoulder. I always had things that I was dealing with, and I knew I was capable of a lot. But everything was for me. And then recently, and it's the same thing that I was telling you, if you want to go fast, do it yourself. If you want to go further, you need a team. And I realized this last year when our business doubled in size. We went from 500 to 1.3 or something like that. And I needed a team. And that's when, because when you're running a certain amount of business, you can do it yourself. You don't really need a team. You can put all the hats in the world and then you can just push through. But there comes a time where if you really want to excel and double and achieve great things, you need to build leaders. Right. And there was a slap in the face. And I realized that. And I remember I talked to Frank, my brother, who works very closely with me. And I said, we have an issue. We've made it all about ourselves, about our legacy or what we want trying to build. And we haven't been pouring into these guys. And all we do is complain and then expect them to just be the people they need to be in order to be successful. And so it was a great mind shift. And you talked about these events that I go to, and a lot of people say, well, you could see the same thing in YouTube, right? Why you spend all this money to go there? Yeah. I think it's necessary. At least for me, that's how I tick. Yeah. And so when I go there and I go to these networking events and these events and where they talk about leadership, and I talk to these people and I see some companies bring the whole team, and it's like they're all in sync. It's something crazy. Like you see them and they all see the same vision, the same values, and I'm like, I want something like that. So you come back to Canada being fired up, and I had a mind shift because I just recently started to go to these events last year.
Yep.
And I shifted my perspective on what a great leader looks like. And I started to be, okay, well, I'm going to set the example, but I'm also going to dedicate time to mentor them, to be there for them, and I'm going to just practice what I preach. I'm not going to be a fake. Mm-hmm. And so that's what really made the difference. And now we have very, very loyal people that really appreciate it. And they're also scaling up with us. Now you see Adam, for example, who's 20, I think he's 23 years old or 22.
Yeah.
He's a superintendent. He's got 15 guys that he supervises and he's responsible for at 23 years of age.
Yeah.
When I was 23, I don't even want to tell you where I was.
Right.
Right. I think I started 24 or 23, 24. That's when I started with Scholar's Edge. But I was no near, and I think he's way more mature than I was.
Right.
And so, but what I'm trying to say is Adam is now becoming a leader because of that mind shift. And so it is Andres, so it's Frank, and that's where we see the growth.
Right.
Yeah. So Yeah, I think that to me is lead by example. Do not just point the finger from behind and tell them people what to do. Is you have to be out there in the front lines with them, and it's constantly.
I think what you just said is like, you think of a plant growing, and call that plant the leadership plant.
Mhm.
And you've gone to these, like I said, you went to this seminar in Phoenix and
Scottsdale. Yeah.
And in going, that effectively helped water the plant.
Yes.
And every once in a while, you need to engage, whether that be a coach, whether that be going to an event.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is important.
Yeah.
And you can accomplish, or reading a book, like you can accomplish that watering the leadership plant with various things, but it's important that you do that as a part of your routine.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And the only way to grow is acquiring new information in your brain. If you don't pour yourself into some sort of investment, and it doesn't have to be an event. It could be, like you said, like a book, a podcast, a mentor, something. If there's no new information, that you're always going to see stuck thinking the same way and not growing, right? And that's key to keep on moving, to keep on learning, and you got to pour in more information. You can acquire that from a book, going into an event, spending time with a mentor, talking to people that are already in a place where you want to be, right? I think that's also important. And also be careful who you talk to, right? Because a lot of people have a lot of opinions and they have the best business advice. However, maybe they're not in a place where you want to be. So the advice that they're giving you is maybe not the right one. And
True.
Something to think about is sometimes those advices come from people that you love, and you confuse the two.
Right. Yeah. Like I've had people that I know that like my father, for example, right? I used that example in another podcast that we did, that just my dad was someone that really rained on my parade when I was chasing opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I wish that I learned this earlier in life, but if I could go back to and I tell my kids this, if I could go back to my young self, like, I mean, like really young, like I'm talking like before I turned 10, I would tell that person that you are the average of the 5 people that you associate the most with. And that's from straight out of the book, Think and Grow Rich by Jim Rohn.
Right.
And
great book.
And it is everything, really. Like if you hang out with skids, guess what? You're going to be a skid. If you hang out with losers, you're going to be a loser.
Even one person can ruin your life.
Right. If you hang out with people that are athletic, that are driven, that are, for my kids, they strive to do well academically, they're going to be the average of those 5 people that they hang out with. And so that is so important. And I wish that I could go back and give that advice to like I said, my 10-year-old self. 100%.
I agree with you. And talking about surrounding yourself with the right people, I'm going to share something personal to you, with you. In Victoria and Vancouver Island, I struggled a little bit because I couldn't find my people. I was a certain way. I was always motivated, disciplined. I wanted great things, and I had really good ambitions. I'm not saying there's not people like that in Vancouver Island. I'm sure there are. I just couldn't find them. And I was surrounded with the wrong people. Going to parties, doing things I shouldn't be doing, and killing my dreams, right?
Yep.
So going back to these events, it showed me what's out there.
Yeah.
It got me out of my ecosystem where I thought, well, this is just how it is. And I'm always going to be alone. And I remember at one of those events, and this is why it's got the hidden golden nuggets, because it's not just the events, it's like who people you meet in those events. They're like-minded people.
Yeah.
And somebody told me, well, if you're in this situation where, you want to be a certain way and you can't find people that are the same way, you feel lonely, stuff like that, well, why don't you become the catalyst to change the other guys around you? Why don't you just become the satellite that changes the people that are very close to you into becoming better? Become their leader. Don't expect to hang out with other leaders and becoming better. That's optimal. That's awesome. Finding people that are better than you to feed off of that. Or you can see it the other way. You build yourself up, you work on yourself, and then you change the circle around you. That's very powerful. And I love that. And
Yeah.
I got back and I'm like, we got to change a lot of things here.
Yeah.
Right. But with, and people appreciated that.
Yeah.
And once we started doing those things, and we started doing cold plunges, and we started doing like, because talk about company culture, it doesn't happen during working hours. It happens outside of work.
Yes.
Company culture happens outside of work. You grind together. You go ahead and face challenges. You go work out together. You spend times talk about sensitive topics. You get close. That's where loyalty in company culture happens. I feel that. And that's when everything started to change.
When you think about building, like, it sounds like we come back to the leadership thing, and it's building yourself as an example first. And then ultimately you can't help other people until you've helped yourself and you're an example. So what does that look like? Like, I mean, now let's take this deeper. Like, you structure your day. Like, do you have non-negotiables with yourself that you do day in and day out that you believe help you be this example?
100%. I mean, I'll tell you right now, it's not easy. It's a constant war, mental war. I try not to let my actions be dictated by my emotions, even though I'm a very emotional guy.
Yep.
And so to keep myself being disciplined, constant, I need to anchor my why to different visualizations in my head. And we talked about in the previous podcast about, know your enemies, like things that when people told you, I don't believe in you and stuff like that. Those for me are anchors. And it's something that I constantly go back to when I feel like I'm slipping. And so what I do is I try to get up out of bed. As soon as I hear the alarm, I don't second guess. So the moment when I wake up, I try to build small wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these small wins give me confidence throughout the day to continue to push myself and get through the day, even if there's like challenges. And it can be just as small as my alarm goes off, I'm out of the bed. I don't hit snooze. That's a small win.
Yeah.
Gives me a little bit more confidence. I leave my room, my bed is made, everything's clear, small win. And it goes and I build that up. If I can't get a workout in, it bugs me. It messes my whole day up, right? Mm-hmm. And so even even when I have like big events or maybe like a meeting and stuff, I'll try to get a workout in just to feel confident.
Yep. And
so I feel like those stacking of wins is what keeps me going. And whenever I feel like I'm slipping, I go back to those pains in my head, and it just keeps me centered.
It is motivating when I hear you say that you're in a constant battle with yourself, because that battle, that self, that other person or whatever you want to call it that you're in battle with, that's the lazy self, right? Yeah. And that's interesting that you call it a battle. It's inspiring.
I go to war with myself every single day. Like it's just the way it is. Like, the people naturally, your body's and your mind is gonna want to go to the path of less resistance, and you're always gonna have that version of yourself to tell you, stay in bed, don't go, you push yourself too hard. But if you start differentiating yourself from that and realize that that's not you're not your thoughts, and you almost see you're able to separate yourself from that persona that you don't want to be.
Yeah.
It gives you a lot of strength.
Right.
And so with the repetitions of doing the things you don't want to do, but they're good for you, it builds a stack of
strength and wins.
Strength. It's a stack of undeniable proof that gives you confidence, that builds a mental callus, that it just becomes more easy. And any other challenge that gets thrown at your way, you're able to tackle it with more ease.
Right.
Because you've learned how to say no to that weak version of you.
100%. Mm-hmm.
But it's not like I built it and that's it. No, you have to keep at it every day.
It's like you're building a muscle that just gets stronger and stronger
100%.
and stronger and stronger, right?
100%.
So that's
yeah, people think it's like, oh, I've put in the work, that's it. Like I'm set. Like, no, dude. Like if you stop working on it, you'll go back to your old ways.
100%.
you'll go back to your old ways. There's a part of me where it's like, Julian, let's go back to party mode. Let's go back to nightclubs and enjoy this. Like, why are you doing all this stuff? And I'm like, no. Because there's another thing. It's like, if you don't know where you want to be, right? If you still don't know what you want to accomplish in life, who you want to be in the future, that's not. It's important, but it's not such a big deal. What's important and what's going to help you is, who don't you want to be? Who do you not want to be?
Mm-hmm.
And if you start there, it's going to build a foundation of, your whole trajectory. Because I know there's a lot of things that growing up that I don't want to be like my dad in certain aspects. I don't want to be like, I don't want to mention people, but you know what I'm getting at.
When I look though, I think that, you obviously are, you're a product of your parents.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't have had this. They've obviously done a lot of things right along the way for you to be the human that you are, and to seek betterment all the time, right? I don't think that's something that you're just like, that just happens per se. I think maybe most people are innately like that, but but now let's move past like the personal side, like, okay, the successes of getting up, not hitting snooze on the alarm,
right,
working out, eating healthy, making conscious decisions. Now, how does that apply to business? Like how does the leadership carry through to what you do day in and day out with your business that helps you be successful?
Well, doing these small things, like I said, these small wins, gives me the confidence that when I'm trying to mentor my guys, tell them, hey, well, this is what you're supposed to be doing. I don't feel like a fake.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like a fraud. Because they'll see right through me.
Yeah.
If I'm like giving them advice and coaching them, and they know, like, dude,
do what I say, not what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you sleep in. I know you're saying like, yeah, you should be working hard and all that stuff. And you're like, as soon as 2:00 goes by, because I have the ability. I'm in a position right now in the business where I can just go home at like 2:00, and I don't have to tell anybody that I'm there just resting, right?
Yep.
But I don't do that, because if I'm trying to build them up as a leader, I need to feel confident that what I'm telling them is real.
So it comes down to, I think also too, as a leader, like you really, what I think you're saying is you're doing the things that you don't necessarily want to do, or there's a voice telling you you don't have to do that. So I think now, like, here you are, you're running your business, you're managing people. How many people do you have in your company?
It fluctuates a little bit, but I think high 20s.
High 20s in terms of employees.
Employees, yeah.
That work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes obviously management that you have.
That's right.
People. So how many people do you have that oversee?
My leaders?
Yeah. How many leaders do you have?
Well, I think there's multiple leaders, but management, there's Adam, there's Andres, there's obviously Frank, Flavia, who just recently joined, Jose. But the managers themselves, I think there's three key people in my business that I oversee.
And as far as your mentorship to them, you're hopefully holding them, I would think, to high standards.
100%. 100%. And I've learned. Obviously, I've known them for many years, let alone my brother, right? But Andres and Adam, who I've gone very close with, I know them, and I know they have different personalities. And one thing that you need to know as a leader is how to get to that person, that your delivery. Because even though you're sending out the same message, you need to understand who you're talking to, so they can be receptive of what you're saying. So my delivery does change
100%
with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Andres, sometimes he's like, dude, he's the kind of guy, he's very logical. He doesn't like the fluff, the hurrah and all that kind of stuff. You can't get through him like that. But Adam, on the other side, he's just like that. He gets really fired up with like, dude, envision yourself and doing all these things and stuff like that. And that's the reason why I actually took him. I paid for his trip to get him to see David Goggins. And he's like,
He loved it.
he loved it. He came back, he started running. Like,
So Andreas wouldn't. He would be like,
no, he's like, dude, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time and money.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but he's bought in. He's bought in. He's with the company. He's loyal. My delivery method has been different with him, but he gets the point and he sees a future. It took him like 2 or 3 years to really understand the vision. He's like, I'm just gonna be here for a couple months. 4 years in, he's still here.
he's here.
He's still here, but he sees the growth. He's not stuck. And now he is, and this is not coming from me, from what I see. This is coming from the painters that are being supervised by him and coming back and telling Frank and myself, like, what's going on with Andres? Like, he's doing a really good job, just like being there, helping us, supporting, even talking to the customers. The clients call me, he's like, Andres is really good. And he doesn't say anything. He doesn't tell me. Adam likes to highlight what he does. He's like, he looks for approval a little bit, but Andres works in silence, but I still notice. It's really powerful.
I think that the one thing that where I've experienced in terms of developing leaders is that people don't innately like think that they work for money. I think that that is actually a very low motivator. Where I find is that people strive for the responsibility. And and since I've started like letting go like of responsibility, I'm actually seeing my leaders rise to a higher level. And that's super empowering, because the higher level, I believe the higher level that they're striving to be at, the more likely that they are going to want to continue helping us build. And when they get to that next level, I think it's my responsibility as their leader to look at, okay, well, what else can they help with here? And that to me is that's super important.
That's right.
I also think as business owners that we need to be selfless and let people share in the success of the growth, financially, style of life, and fun. Like you said, you took Adam to see David Goggins, and I think he probably would really appreciate that. And he got a ton from it, right? So that also helps foster loyalty.
Investing in your people.
Yes.
100%. I mean, of course, I see those things as fun, because I find it fun. Andres wouldn't find it fun, but it's valuable. Like, right? So I think it's another thing. It's like, you want to build great leaders and a great culture, you need to invest in your people, not just, investing in your company also looks like investing in your people's growth, right? And so this to me was a very good move. By no means it was cheap, but I think it's important. And here's another thing, another thought. People ask me, well, what if Adam leaves, right? Yeah. Like, you invested thousands into him. And I was like, right. Well, what if I don't invest in him? He's stuck in his ways and he stays. What's worse? I would much rather bet on him, build him up, and if he needs to leave and in the future and life happens and he needs to, I'll feel good about my decisions.
I agree. And there's nothing that actually makes me feel better than when I see people that have moved on away from the businesses that I've been a part of, and I look at the success that they're having. And I think, and it's satisfying to know, like, I don't want to gloat. I don't want to be like, haha, they're where they're at because of me. Right. No. I mean, but I genuinely want to see them go on and do, if they decide this isn't for them anymore, they don't want to work within our framework, that's totally fine. But nothing makes me happier than seeing somebody that I worked with having success.
And you probably see that a lot, especially in Scholar's Edge, right? How many students have gone through your program?
Well, tons. And even before, when I worked with StudentWorks, there's tons of people that I see that I've actually had the privilege of working with them, supporting them, helping them sort of see their value. And now they're doing, whether that's selling commercial real estate, being a property developer, or being a lawyer, or being a doctor. These are things that I find quite exciting. You
were talking about this particular person in another podcast with Scholar's Edge. You talked about, and I saw the clip coming here on the way, and it was about an interview, like interviewing. He was being interviewed to get a job, and you said, well, all these estimates, all these like things that he was doing with Scholar's Edge helped him to get this position. I can't remember what was his name, but it was a really good story.
Well, I do. I mean, if it's the story that I'm thinking about, it was a student by the name of Austin Jurgens.
Sounds, yeah. I
And
think
he
that was
like,
it.
he said, he actually came back and spoke at one of our conferences, and he said, I've done so many interviews to interview people to work for me that it just, when I went and sat in front of all the big 4 major accounting firms,
That's right.
it was
That's
just,
it.
it was easy.
That's
like, it was just like, I knew the questions that were coming at me, like
Yeah.
kind of like the Matrix, right? Dodging the
Yeah.
bullets. He knew. And so, yeah, like you really, I mean, what I think that, like what you just said though is like, if Adam leaves, you know, and hopefully he stays, right?
Yeah.
Like, but you will feel good about seeing him go off and do bigger and better things down the road. But ultimately, if you're not finding ways for Adam to grow in your company, you will end up losing him. And that's if he is that person that strives for it.
That's so true.
Right.
That's so true. And those people are so key in order to build a successful company, like those hungry people that really want to strive. But it's also a way to keep you accountable. And if your ambition or your goals are not that large that they can fit their goals within your goals, you're done for. Because the moment that something that keeps me like pretty alive and keeping myself in check is the fact that I'm like, if I decide to relax or I put a cap on my growth, I'm putting a ceiling to their goals as well.
Yep.
I'm limiting them. And I'm like, I can't do that to them. So I feel this responsibility that I need to keep moving and keep dreaming bigger and bigger and bigger, because they're coming right after, like right behind, right? And I'm like, I'm not going to do that to them.
And the only way that you're going to achieve growth is through a heightened discipline on your own end as a leader. And I agree with you. If you're not striving to grow, you're dead. You're dead. There's no standing still. If someone once told me, if you stand still in business and think that you're going to just be okay with the status quo and your business is just going to be the same the next year, there might be a year like that you don't grow.
Yeah.
Like that's fine. But if you're actually striving to grow, usually what ends up happening is your business is going to still be around. But if you just think, oh, you know what? And I've done this. I'm not going to spend money on my culture. I got to watch the pennies a little bit closer. And then next thing you know, here you are, and you're looking back at your year end and you're looking at your profit and loss and you're like, oh my gosh.
What happened?
What happened? Now you could kick your company 4 years back. So it is important. I mean, just to kind of reiterate what I said, that you are always looking to provide opportunity for more responsibility and growth for your best people.
100%.
And ultimately have them share in the success financially, culturally of that growth that you are going to experience. 100%.
100%. I agree. That's something, to think about when you're building a business. You have to understand it's not just you, like you have to think that I don't want to say it's a burden, because I don't see it as a burden, but there's a responsibility in place, and you have to take care of people, and you have to see past your own what's the word? Things that you want to accomplish for yourself, and just think about the others as well and build them up.
So as a leader, it's not like this smooth, straight path. You along the way too, like even myself, I've made mistakes. I've made mistakes with people that are within my business, outside of my business. And so how do you handle people looking at Julian's made a mistake here? What do you do?
You own it. You own it, and then you don't shy away from it. First of all, you don't try to hide it. People will smell it. People will see it.
Yeah.
Own it, have a conversation about it, and then do something about it. And don't just talk about it, but like fix it. Accountability, just making sure that you recognize there was an issue, you made a mistake, let them know, and then do something about it. What's going to happen? How is this not going to happen again? Right?
You do a postmortem at the end with your leadership team, I'm assuming.
I don't know what that means.
So
what is a postmortem?
A postmortem is when after someone has passed away.
Oh.
They do they figure out what happened. Why
Yeah.
did it happen? So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Do you have like when you said that, is there like a specific example that you or
well, I just think
a
it comes down
situation
to,
that-
I think it's impossible in life to satisfy everybody.
No.
Like you're going to have like, how much in sales are you going to do this year?
we're aiming for initially was 3. I don't think it's gonna happen. We're rebuilding some stuff along the way, but I think we're aiming for 2 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
So within that 2 million, I'm going to guess it's not going to go perfectly.
Nope.
And within that 2 million, like, you I'm sure, have there been jobs where you look at it, you're within the situation, you're like, oh my gosh, this is not going as planned.
I'm laughing because there's like 2 of them right now happening.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so when you know it, so I always find it's really easy. I find it's easy when you know that it's your mistake or your fault,
Mhm.
right? And to me, it's not about the money. It's just about owning it and moving on.
Mhm.
To me, that's just business. You're
Mhm.
not, call it marketing spend, whatever. You're going to have things go wrong, but there are going to be times where, unfortunately, you're not going to satisfy that client, and there's going to be, a misalignment on expectations. You strive to set the expectations. And so, I think sometimes too, you got to stand up for yourself.
100%. 100%. It's funny because when I first started in this industry, I was a people pleaser. Like it doesn't matter if I was in the wrong, the right, the client always right. And to a degree, that still holds true. But I wasn't standing up for my team. They would be rude to them. They would just mistreat them. And they would watch me allow that. And that doesn't mean you're rude to anybody, but it just means you stand the ground, and you can still be professional and be, respectful, but you have to stand your ground and stand up for your team when the client is not in the right. And there's a way to approach things, right? And then there's a way to do that. But at the beginning, I wouldn't do that. I would just let it ride and let them, take the hit. And I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. And I could see it in their eyes. Like, dude, we got your back. You don't have ours.
Right.
And it's so quite the opposite this year. Quite the opposite. I always see when something goes wrong, I take a good look into what happened. I ask all the people involved what's going on. Ultimately, it's always my fault, because as a business owner, it doesn't matter if your painter did something. It's your fault because you're the business owner, right? So you have to take that accountability. But if the client is making up stuff or being rude to them, and if they're saying like good morning, and the client's like, don't talk to me, and you can't do this and that, then I do come and talk to them. I sit them down. I'm like, hey, is there some concerns? Is there something that they're doing that is making you uncomfortable? Do you want us to continue doing your job? Like maybe you don't even want us here.
Right.
But I do confront them, and I stand my ground with them, and I ask them politely not to address my team. If they have some concerns, they can talk to me directly.
Right.
And I take that stress off my team.
So you show that you have their back.
100%. You must. You have to.
Yeah. Because
one day is going to happen where you need them to stay a little longer or push a little harder. Why would they if you've never had their backs?
And you can also have their back even when they've made a mistake. Right. And that's hard, but you can motivate them to fix their mistakes. And I always find though too that, for me as in running the business, I always say a picture, or, a picture's 1,000 words. Me being there is 1,000,000 words.
Oh yeah.
And I just try my best. Like if ever there's a challenge, I'm right there. Whether that be a job that would be like underbid, or maybe not underbid, or the painter perceives that, hey, they don't have enough time to get the job
just raises morale.
Or, it could be a client that's just unhappy with a job, and you jump all over it with both hands.
Yeah.
And you stick up for your workers where need be, but also you can hold them accountable even if they haven't done their best work.
Yeah.
and get them to rise to the occasion. I'm a big, a big proponent of the Dale Carnegie course. And I remember going to it, and, it was one of the Dale Carnegie principles was to give people an expectation to live up to. So if somebody isn't pulling their weight, I am able to say to them, I'm like, hey, look, Julian, like the reason why I've got you here is because I feel like you're the guy that I can count on this particular project.
Mm-hmm.
And then you feel like they're like, all of a sudden, whoa, you're putting that trust in me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I find works tremendously well.
That's so true. As we were just talking about leadership and pouring back into your team, I just thought about something that just happened recently. I paid for Andres and Adam, my 2 superintendent guys.
Yep.
For personal coaching.
Oh, wow.
Shout out to Joe Mercado. So he's gonna work with them at a personal level, not just business.
Okay.
And it's funny because Adam was, again, stoked. He's like, yeah, let's do it. I'm ready to level up, right? Andres hit me with like, hey, but like, because he's got a work permit. He might not get a permanent residency, so he's unsure whether he's going to stay, he's going to be accepted or not. So that uncertainty is killing him. So he's like, dude, I don't think you should drop money on me because I might be here for the next 6 months only. And I'm like, I don't care, man. Like, whether you leave or you stay, like, I want you to grow. Because even if you have to go back to Colombia, I want you to bring this with you into your next journey. But I think you're going to stay. Like, don't be pessimistic, or you're going to stay. But like,
think positively.
But I was just thinking about that. It just happened like literally yesterday. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, I'm super excited to see what happens there.
Does Andreas speak Colombian?
You got to stop with that.
Anyways.
No, he's actually, it's funny. He actually speaks Mexican now. His Colombian friends, they're like, dude, you sound like a Mexican. You have all this lingo. You've lost accent. All of his lingo, all of his like, like slangs, everything. He's dropped
because he's all Mexican. Hanging around with you and Frank.
Yeah, exactly. And he starts to sound like us too.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So, well, anyways, I think when it comes to leadership, the one thing that I think of is just obviously being an example, and also bringing along other people, as well as accountability. Like when I say bring along other people, it's like caring for other people that you want to see them succeed and giving them positions of responsibility to grow, especially within a company. And then accountability, like owning your mistakes and just, and owning them with grace and solutions, and then follow through. It's impossible in your situation to run a $2 million local business in Victoria and not have mistakes. Very similar to Scholar's Edge. We have mistakes, and then we have to jump all over it. We have to own it. And that's all that anyone will ever ask of you. You're never, ever going to be perfect.
Yeah.
So
that's right. Thanks, son.
Anyways, okay. Well, we'll wrap this one up, and we'll move on to the next podcast next time we meet.
Perfect.
And it was great chatting with you about leadership. Thanks.
Likewise.
Thanks, Julian.
Thank you.